Hello guys and welcome to another Battlefield 1 gun review. Today we're going to be looking at the Madsen MG, but first, if you're not already, please be sure to subscribe because I'm bringing out quite a lot of gun reviews. My plan is to do all guns in Battlefield, so just to keep up to date with those videos, be sure to subscribe. So today we're looking at the Madsen MG, as I was saying. The first variant we're looking at is the low weight variant. So what is best on the low weight? Well, it's the recoil. And it's not the amount of recoil, it's how quickly the recoil decreases. So compared to the other two variants, the recoil decreases the quickest. So basically it takes less shots for the recoil to decrease. So that's the main point. Now, as you can see there, the damage points, 23 max damage, 15 minimum damage, and various distances where the drop-off occurs, 17.5 and 28.75 meters. Now that's the same across all the three variants, so you don't really need to worry about which one is better for those. So they're all the same in that. Now as we look at the recoil of the low weight variant, as I said, these are all the same across all the classes as well. So the aim down sight, recoil up, 0.38, both aiming down sight and hip fire, recoil left and right, 0.3, aiming down sight and hip fire. So those are all the same across the three classes as well, so not much difference there. And then the last thing we're going to look at is the spread. So there's quite a lot of data here, so if I do go too quick, be sure to pause it and take a look yourself. But basically the minimum spread for aiming down sight is 0.24, the minimum whilst moving is 0.56, maximum 1.2, maximum whilst moving 2, and then hip fire 1.5, 1.25, 1, and then etc, etc. So that's the basic data for spread for the low weight, and there isn't much difference across the classes. Again, we'll get into that in the other variants really. So, just quickly, how did I find this gun? I think this was probably my favourite variant. Of course, with the low weight you do get the bipod, and as I have said in many of my other LMG reviews, the bipod makes all LMGs absolutely ridiculous. It makes them like a laser. This gun is no different. So yeah, that's probably why it's my favourite gun to use of the Madsens. And to be honest, even though it doesn't have the foregrip like on the Storm, it's still quite good up close. So moving on to the Storm variant, as I was saying in the first variant, the damage is the same across the three classes, and for the Storm and the low weight, the spread is the same as well, so we're not going to look at those. We're just going to look at the recoil, which is the difference between the Storm and the low weight. So as you can see, the recoil is less both up, left and right on the Storm. So aiming down sight and hip fire, 0.266, recoil up, 0.21 left and right. Now it doesn't seem like a big difference, but it means the gun is a lot easier to control, especially at longer ranges when you're not using the bipod on the low weight. So you got to keep in mind that even though the recoil is less, when you're using the bipod on the low weight, that's basically nullified and it basically has no recoil. So that's what you've got to consider there. But when you're not using the bipod, the Storm is definitely better than the low weight, especially up close. I found the Storm very effective, and even in this clip you can see it does perform quite well at long ranges. You've got to make sure though that you don't fire in bursts. Really, you want to be holding down that trigger for a longer time, because that is when the recoil does decrease after a few shots. So you got to keep that in mind. And as the magazine is 31 rounds, it's not as big as some of the others. That does cause a problem when engaging targets at longer range. As you can see there, the first few shots are not very accurate at all, but once you get a few shots down range, then the gun becomes quite accurate. So make sure you keep that in mind if you're using this gun at the longer ranges. But it does perform quite well. You can see I'm using the AA sights. That's mainly because I find it much easier to use this gun with the AA sights than the iron sights. That's just my personal preference. It doesn't make any difference really. So you can choose whichever one feels best for you. How did I find this gun? How did I rate this gun? Probably my second favourite variant. And you can see it's got the foregrip at the front there. That is why the recoil is less, due to that foregrip at the front. But yeah, it's not as good as the low weight, but that's only because of the bipod on the low weight in my opinion. If you want to be rushing, then definitely use the Storm, I'd say, if you want to be up close. I basically use the LMG with a bipod if I'm kind of sitting back a bit. Use it with foregrip if I am attacking. So moving on to the final variant, the trench variant. Now this was my least favourite of the variants. And how many more times do I want to say variants? A few more, should have counted that, but oh well. And yes, so the trench, as you can see, it does have the foregrip at the front. I didn't actually notice that before, but it doesn't seem to make a huge amount. Okay, I don't get that. You could. Oh, he does. I thought he didn't use it, but he does. Okay, so the trench, the benefit to this one is that it has a lower spread when firing from the hip. That is the main thing that stands out for this gun, and to be honest, that wasn't really enough for me. The accuracy wasn't as good, and that I want to highlight that quickly. This clip, as you can see, I completely missed those two guys out. The magazine completely blocked them out. Now as I'm watching this back in slow motion, I do see that he does actually spawn and then lie down, but it still does cause a bit of a problem. That is a problem. So that's the main thing I have, which is a problem with this gun on all of the variants. It's the mag. It's just so annoying. It's in the way. It takes up a lot of the screen. So that's the main thing I would say about this gun. It is a fun gun to use. It is good damage. Time to kill is quite quick. Has an okay magazine size, to be honest. 31 rounds I can manage with, but that sight is just hideous. The sight is probably the main reason I wouldn't use it. So just try it out, see how you feel. Why didn't I like the trench? It was a decent gun. I just found that it wasn't as effective at the longer ranges. But here we go, up close it just melts targets really. Really good up close. So again, on your playstyle, choose which one. The trench would be good for possibly operations, possibly rush. But in my opinion, I prefer the low weight. But yeah, they're all good guns, and that's pretty much all I've got to say. A very solid LMG. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it helps out a bit. And I'll see you next time for the next gun review.